Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is your weekly source of gaming news, questions, and impressions from minimap.com.au. My name is Kerry Palmer, and joining me is Jeremy Braditich.
Hello. Hello.
Did I say your name right just then?
I don't know. I don't really particularly listen to it with much like.
I feel like I said Jeremy or like.
Oh, I've got that before. It's fine.
Jerem. I feel like I missed some syllable in there. I'm like, that wasn't right.
Like you'll forgive me if I don't like actively listen to you doing something I've heard 107 times.
I mean, it's pretty insensitive, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I was having fun saying your name on Saturday night, Jeremy, when the Australian election was happening, because watching the ABC with my family, there was a graphic on the screen of, whoever was running in whatever place it was, and I don't remember which electorate it was, but there was one person whose first name was Jeremy with 2 R's.
What?
And so I had a lot of fun going, Jeremy.
What
or
party?
Jeremy.
What party was he at?
They were independent or One Nation or something like that.
Ugh.
Jeremy. Or Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No, it was very strange, but it's funny to look at and say. How was your election night, Jeremy?
It was great. I was working on some stuff until about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then I went out of the house, went to the local bottle shop, procured 8 seltzers and a bottle of wine. Because I have no faith in Australian politics. I was pleasantly surprised with the overall result of the election.
Me too. Yep.
That being said, I still did finish the entire bottle of wine.
It's quite a long, drawn out process to actually watch the election.
It is very, very long. It is very boring. I was the only one in the house who was watching it.
Oh no! I thought you might have been watching with someone who cared.
One of my housemates was going to, but then they had a family thing that they went to, and then came back about the time it was ending. So it was mostly just me. We'll get to that though, but yeah, by and large, it was me sitting on the couch and my housemates popping in, saying, asking such questions as, "How are we going?" and "Are you still watching this?" So yeah.
You start throwing your undrunken seltzers at them.
Crushed up cans. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was good having a result that I felt was positive personally for my politics, which is the first time that's happened since I've been able to vote. So that's great.
Yeah. Same. Actually, same.
Yeah.
Aside from on a federal level, I think we will say. On a state level,
on a federal level,
in Victoria, it's been
state level gets a bit strange.
Yeah, it's on a state level. You're voting for the current premier, Dan Andrews, or you're voting for a literal nobody. Tim Wilson is just a fake man.
Before that was Matthew Guy.
Yes, Matthew Guy, who's
definitely a real person
and has genuine dealings with mobsters. And paying for lobsters, there was a whole thing.
Mobsters and lobsters?
Mobsters.
I knew he had to step down.
Look, Australian politics is just what a trip.
You mean a joke?
Yeah. Matthew Guy's back as the shadow opposition leader in Victoria once again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What happened to the lobsters?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Ted Baillieu?
Not that well. I was a bit young to care about that. I still hardly care about state politics. Which honestly I think is for the best.
At times.
If you don't know much about state politics and want to hear less about it, you've come to the right place. This is the MiniMapCast, where we're going to talk about video games.
I don't know if it is the right place.
What, to hear less about state politics?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I get in the mood.
Yeah, I don't know. So long as we're out of lockdown, I think we'll be okay. in that regard.
Now, I need you to do the intro while I quickly fix my camera.
All right, good luck.
Like a professional.
Okay. If you're unfamiliar, this is the MiniMapCast. We're going to talk about video games, what we've been playing this week. I've also got a topic of the show this week, as we have with every other week. Well, not the early episodes, but this episode. We're going to be talking about a bit of a Star Wars retrospective. Well done, Jeremy. Star Wars retrospective pertaining particularly towards games, but this is in regards to, what is this, an anniversary, Jeremy? Or
I mean, it's the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones very soon, but it's just more about Star Wars Celebration is at the end of the week, and Obi-Wan Kenobi will be, I think, the first 2 episodes will be airing by the time this gets released, and we'll be able to see if they've fucked it up once again.
I mean, I'm excited to see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, regardless of how the show goes, but yeah.
And the music and Coruscant, and there's nostalgia there at the very
Tatooine.
least. Yeah.
We all need to see more Tatooine.
Not enough.
So if you like Star Wars, or even if you don't, that's what's coming at the end of the show. Please watch it.
Whether you like it or not, we're going to talk about Star Wars.
If you want to support us, there's a couple of things you can do. You can rate the show positively on whatever platform you get your podcasts. So that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Is that what they call it now? It's not iTunes anymore.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
You should give us 5-star ratings, I think.
Unless there's 10 stars, then please give us 10.
Don't think there is, but if there is, let us know.
You know, Menulog rate their restaurants out of 6 stars? So strange.
That sucks.
So weird. And it means that like a 3.9 is like better than you think it is.
It means that there's so many 5-star restaurants. That's why.
I see.
What a fucking facade. What a just fake fucking thing.
Yeah, it's pretty crap.
Yeah.
It's very unclear at a glance what's going on.
Yeah.
If you want to support us, you can rate us positively on whatever platform you get your podcasts. If you're feeling particularly generous, you can go onto a different platform where you don't get your podcast and rate us positively there too. We'd appreciate that. You can also go to patreon.com /minimapau to support us monetarily if you choose to do so. That option is there for you. $5 gets you a couple of odd little random topics that we'll throw in there every now and then, or outtakes if we've got them. But mostly it's just there if you wanted to support us in that way. That option is there for you. You can also find us on socials. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and Patreon's the other one on the ticker. You can find us all for that one. It's all MiniMapAU for all of those accounts. We also wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. Now, Jeremy, I have one quick question for you.
Yes.
Did you start a timer when we started the show?
Sure did, Kerry.
Where are we up to? Because I didn't start my timer.
About 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Wow.
I don't know if that's exactly correct, but it's about it. I started it a little bit
correct
after.
Than my 0.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jeremy.
That's all right.
I'm going to start us off this week.
Anyone that's listening to the episode will be able to see that my time is completely off as well.
Oh yeah, because they'll see what it actually is in the edit.
Yeah.
But more accurate than my 0. So I'm going to start us off. I'm the one who's played the new game this week. Me, not Jeremy.
Tell me about it.
Anyone ever heard of this game called V Rising?
It's been doing the rounds a little bit. Like I've seen my work
only
chat
this
talk about
week,
it.
Right?
Yes.
Like it just kind of exploded out of nowhere. There was like a closed alpha like a month or 2 ago or something like that, and now it's in like early access, like by the game free for all. Not free for all. It's not free. You got to buy it. But now it's available, and it's surprisingly popular. I think it cracked Steam's top 10 played list over the weekend. So like, good on them. I think it's a relatively small team. It's a top-down survival game.
Okay.
I didn't realize how much of a survival game it was, but it's very Valheim survival game. You know, you kill, you knock down trees and break stones and kill some animals to get some hide, and you know, you create your little home base. And oh my god, you deleted me from the video. How could you?
Sorry, I was moving a window.
And so, like, it's quite the survival game. But the way it plays is almost akin to an MMO. where you kind of got a lot of hotkeys for like your hotbar, like 1 through 9 for like your inventory. And then like left click is attack with whatever weapon you're holding. And then you've got like different vampire abilities. You can have like a ranged ability or like a chaos smash ability. Apparently there's ultimates when you get to those, and when your weapons get stronger, they get different weapon abilities. So you got lots of keys and lots of icons along the bottom of your screen. And that top-down setting feels that MMO kind of combat. Or at least it looks like it. It plays much more satisfyingly than I think an MMO does.
Right. Okay.
Which is good. You feel the hits pretty well, I think. It is an online setting, so you can play on a server of like 20 or 40 other vampires and sort of set up your own castles in different areas. And
sorry, I'm just imagining like a town of vampires, and they're all like blood, like all like there's just the consistent level of like I am the vampire. Like I'm just imagining like, have you seen the movie What We Do in the Shadows?
I haven't. I really need to.
You should. I put it on Plex. You should watch that movie, Kerry. It's so fucking funny. It's just that kind of like, we are vampires. What do you expect us to do? We do vampire things, like that kind of level. Like they get a computer for the first time, and because they bite some guy, and he's like the first like young vampire set in like the modern era that they've had in a long time, and so he like moves in with them, and he like brings his computer, and none of them have ever used his computer because they're all hundreds or thousands of years old.
Right.
And they go onto YouTube and they watch like a YouTube video of a sunrise, and they like freak out like the last moment. It's so fucking funny. It's so good. That and shit. Like one of them Skypes his muse from 100 years ago.
Oh wow, that's fun.
And he's like a really old man. He's like, "You haven't aged a day. How are you? How are you?" And he's like, I am good. I am still a vampire here in Wellington." That sort of stuff. And he goes like, "You promised when I sent you to Wellington, you promised to make me a vampire, but now I am an old man. When are you going to finally give me like infinite life?" And he's like, and like hangs up the call.
That's fun.
It's so
That's
good.
Taika Waititi, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I need to get to that. There's not that much self-awareness in this one. It's not like Magicka where your teacher is the vampire called Vlad.
Yeah,
right. There's not that much kind of story. But the way it goes is like, you start out and it's like, swipe at things with your claws to break these skeletons. Oh, you got 30 bones. In your crafting menu, you can now create a bone sword. And then you can create bone axes and a mace, and then you can create clothes, and then you can create stronger bone weapons, and then you can get better clothes. And they've got a few unique mechanics though. So you have base building in this, but it's sort of it's ensconced in the sort of how do I put this, in the mythos of vampirism. Where they have a castle near the town sort of thing, right? There's
you must be invited in.
Kinda, yeah. So, and you can like knock on other vampires' doors and they can let you in. That's fun. But your castle has a heart, and it's this like bowl in the ground. It's this stone bowl, like a bird feeder, but like gothic. And you have to fill it with blood essence, which you get from killing things, obviously. Which are just like orbs of blood. And when you fill it with blood essence, this orb floats above the stone bird feeder, and is constantly like dripping blood into the castle heart. And so like that's cool. And like you can upgrade it, and that allows you to make the castle bigger. But something that's interesting in this is there's a time of day cycle in this. It's like every 25 minutes is a whole day. And the night is longer than the day. It's like 16 hours, 8 hours or something like that, or like 14, 10, something like that.
Sure.
And you've always got a clock in the screen that you can see. But when the sun's out, unless you're in shadow or you're like in your coffin, if you're in direct sunlight for more than like 10 seconds, you start taking a lot of damage, and it'll take you down to 1 health, and then you're pretty much fucked if you find anything that wants to hurt you. So it becomes this balance of like going out during the night, raiding a camp to get some resources like thread or leather, which is a more advanced resource, and then either trying to make it back before the day starts, or once the day starts, like dashing between the trees to get from where you need to go. And that extends to even inside your castle, because when you start, you're only building with wood, and it's just kind of like a fort, right? It's just kind of like wooden walls, and then like you're just building everything on the grass.
Right.
And so you don't have a roof over your head, and the only way you can get that is by building like an actual castle out of stone, and that's actually really resource intensive.
Right.
Like you have to get raw stone and put it in the grinder, which creates bricks and dust, and that takes so long. It's like 20 stone becomes 1 brick or something, and like there's a lot of resource intensivity, I suppose. But it's quite good. And that time of day mechanic where you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then it's even becomes a thing where it's like, oh, it's daytime, or it's nearly daytime, I better get back to my castle. But when you're just starting, like you've got like this much shade on like your eastern wall until like midday, and then there's like no shade in your castle, like unless there's cloud cover if you're lucky. So like you spend a lot of time during the day just hiding.
Right.
It gets annoying at times, but it's not too bad.
Is there a lot of like loot stuff? Because it reminds me of Diablo.
Yeah, it looks and plays a bit like Diablo. There's not as much loot from like enemies. It's not like it's far less about that, because it's much more about you being able to craft your weapons, because when you get stronger weapons, you can mine better materials to make more stronger equipment, right? So like if you just found better stuff, which you can do, but if you just found better stuff all the time, it would kind of undermine the crafting and resource management.
Right.
So it's much more like enemies will drop resources. They'll drop, like I said, thread or whetstones or leather or paper, which you need because it takes a while for you to be able to make those. But they're very rarely dropping weapons. Very rarely are you finding weapons out in the world.
Is the progression like is it run based, or are you like starting a character and
you're
like
starting a character?
That's your guy,
it's not.
right?
It's not a roguelike. It's you're starting a world, and then you put your castle down, and you're living in this server.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And if you die, you can do a death run to go get your stuff back. But you spawn back in your coffin at the castle where you place yourself. And so that's fun. And it's cool, like the more you get into stonework, the more like very vampiric it becomes, and it gets more into that lore. Like you can enslave humans, and then you can send them out on like resource runs, so they can start gathering all those raw resources for you, putting them into the sawmill and the stone crusher. So that's automatically generating, and you have to make a coffin for them out of like greater blood essence, and I'm not quite sure how all that works, but you can't do that before making a proper stone coffin for yourself. So before you can make just like a wooden, like a really cheap kind of wooden coffin, and that serves fine, and that's a respawn point for you. But at some point it's like, make yourself a proper one, and it takes up like 8 squares in the room, and it's got like a Latin inscription on the floor beside it, and it's huge. It's this gigantic stone coffin,
right?
And it really becomes like, oh yes, make this proper vampiric castle a thing. And I think it's really good. And I think the amount of time it takes to do each thing, and the amount of resources it takes, the amount of effort it takes to do each step, is a good amount of time each time. I think it's unlike Valheim, where you have to work sometimes for like 20 or 30 minutes to get like 5 leather in Valheim. Like that was really slow, and you needed a fair amount of it. This is like
Valheim wasn't that fun in the end.
I kind of agree. I mean, we only really played it together once or twice. But then V Rising is like, it's not that sort of thing where it's like 20 minutes to get 5 resources. It's more like 5 minutes to get 500 resources. Like every swipe of your thing is like +6 lumber, +22 lumber, +38 lumber.
Right.
But then you need a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing where it's like Call of Duty went from giving you +5 points per kill to like plus 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Like as the game's iterated.
Yeah. It's the Final Fantasy like boss health creep.
Yeah, exactly. It works well here. It's balanced well.
Okay.
Seemingly.
Right.
Yeah, it's the kind of one I would get really into. It's got like PvE or PvP servers. Okay. So you can determine whether you're fighting other vampires when you come across them. The PvE ones are kind of interesting. Good for if you want to do something cooperative with friends, but when you're in a normal server without knowing anyone else, I mean, I guess you could team up with them if you want, but you just kind of like bumble into other vampires who are taking out wolves or taking down a tree or something like that. Exactly. And then we kind of like, all right, see ya, and then fuck off. Sometimes there was like a boss that was taking me out. What?
You're woodcutting. I want to be woodcutting here.
I was saved by someone once, which was good. Like, they went to fight a boss and they were like, oh, fuck this is too hard. And I was like, oh, I'll do this. This boss is weakened. And they messed me up. And then they came back and revived me, which was cool. So there's little moments like that, but like, I don't know. The PvP sounds interesting. At like certain times of day, you can raid other vampires' castles.
Well, that's fun.
And so then it's like you have to keep your blood essence up and like stay back to defend or go out and raid. Like, it's quite comprehensive. And you can also set up your own servers with so many server customization options you want. Like, when you harvest resources, maybe you're getting 2 times the amount, or you can increase the amount of resources you can stack in your inventory per chunk. Like, right. It's really customizable. You can have all vampires start at a certain amount of like research or equipment level. So yeah, it's really positive, really friendly, I think. Cool. It is on the slow side, honestly, for that kind of thing. Like, to get to stoneworking, I honestly think it'd take you about 5 or 6 hours.
Right.
But there's a lot to do in the meantime. You can like feast on people's blood, and that like empowers you differently. Like different enemies have like stronger amounts of like a rogue type blood, or like, and that then gives you different abilities. And you can also find like V blood carriers, and basically when you feed off of them, they're bosses basically that roam around the world or in camps. And when you feed off them, you get a unique vampire ability, like a wolf form from the alpha wolf, or a cool gravity shot where you can where you get a new projectile, or and usually that comes with like you gain their knowledge as well. So you get the knowledge of how to make a tanning rack to make leather, or how to make this sort of resource or that sort of resource. So like that's like a fun thing to do in the meantime, and it's quite necessary. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. There's I don't have a good read on it, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, I am, and I'm playing it for work, okay, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, I could see myself once I turn it on playing for longer than I meant to.
Right. But is it the kind of game that you'll play a bunch and then you'll forget to play it again? You know, when you get those...
For me, yes.
Right.
I think so. But I think it's a better survival gameplay loop than like Minecraft is, for example.
Okay.
Like, I'll bounce off Minecraft pretty quickly these days. The amount of progression in the survival loop in this game is enough to keep someone who likes that kind of progression in. I think it's a good amount of keeping you hooked.
Okay. I have one question, and one question only. Is it better or worse than Vampire Survivors?
Ooh, it's a hard choice to make, Jeremy. Better or worse than Vampire Survivors? It's very different.
Because I'm not kidding when I say that worse. Vampire Survivors is like neck and neck with Elden Ring for my game of the year.
Oh, that's fucked. That's fucked.
I know.
It's great. Vampire Survivors is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
I think Vampire Survivors has the edge for me. Okay. Right. I think it's more refined and more fun.
Yeah,
constantly.
It is.
V Rising scratches a different itch, and it scratches it well. But I think Vampire Survivors is I think it's got it a bit more than V Rising does.
We spoke about this online a few days ago, and your partner Sam chimed in as well with some interesting information. But like the the influx of vampire games and media is just been so fun to see.
Yep.
And they were talking about how it's by and large every time this happens, it is a reaction to like heavier conservative what's the word? Rule, yeah, I guess, but like a conservative push, right? It's a reaction to that, and it's happened every time that happens. There's a big influx in vampire movies. It's because there is some form of progressive sexual liberation happening at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
Which is cool.
Because there's just that kind of inherent kind of...
Vampires are horny and they're sexy.
Well, they are. The whole them biting someone's neck thing, like that's
it's hot.
Like that's tied to just like sex, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a core part of what they do, and they're made up with a different kind of pallor, and
they
like,
dress incredibly.
Yeah, the fashion.
I don't know if you've seen the Castlevania TV show, the animated one on Netflix.
I heard it's great.
Oh, it's so good. Alucard is so fucking hot in that show. He's so attractive. Christopher Lee, one of the first, if not the first Dracula. So good. So attractive back in those 1940s movies.
Was he one of the first Draculas? That's interesting.
Yeah. Him and Peter Cushing. 2 Star Wars.
Let me see what did Sam write? Because vampires usually have a boom in popularity when hetero roles are challenged or spooked, because vampire bite is aligned with sex, and not the heteronormative reproductive kind. There were oodles of vampire films made around the time of the sexual revolution for women, and again when the gay liberation movement kicked off. Right-wing US president just got voted out, bring on the vampires.
Yeah.
And it's a good read, honestly.
It's a great read. It's something that I had no idea about.
Yeah, what? You said, holy shit, what? That owns.
Yeah, yep. It does. I stand by that. Did you know that the reason Christopher Lee in the Star Wars films is known as Count Dooku is because George Lucas wanted to do Count as an homage to Christopher Lee playing Dracula?
I didn't know that. That is interesting.
And then I saw that today in a tweet from... someone I follow, Saf, who has a Star Wars podcast with a great name called Rogue Podron, where they like Squadron.
But what's Podron?
Podcast. They have a Star Wars podcast. I think it's good when you read it. They posted a tweet saying that, and at the end, it's like a bunch of Star Wars writers in 2004 to 2010, comic and novel writers, like, fuck, now we have to find out what a count is, and now we have to find out what he's going to be a count of.
Yeah, totally. What that means for where he's from. And
yeah. He turns out he's just the count of wherever he's from. It's just a planet.
That was so confusing as like a 7-year-old watching that movie, where it's like, oh, he's Count Dooku, but he's also Darth Tyrannus, which is like, is he a T-Rex?
It's like Anakin and Vader. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but I was confused as a 7-year-old. Like, I get it now.
Right.
But he had 2 very strange names. And it was like, why are they calling him Count Dooku when he's so clearly a Sith? Like, it's like, why are they bothering to not just call him that? Yeah. It's like calling Darth Maul and like Fred, like, come on, let's drop the pretense here.
Yeah, Darth Maul is the only one that doesn't make sense because his name is just Maul.
Ah, that doesn't make any sense.
Sure doesn't.
Ah, that's so disappointing.
I'm 99% sure that's correct.
Is that because there's some like tie to the Sith on their home planet? What are they called again?
He's from he's
D?
He's a Zabrek from Dathomir.
Dathomir, that's right.
Yeah.
Dathomir was cool in Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, that was cool.
Fight a big bat.
Yeah, his name was Maul before attaining the honor of Darth. It doesn't.
Darth Palpatine.
It just is inconsistent.
Darth Dooku.
I like how
Darth Anakin.
we spoke about you and I spoke about this semi recently. It's weird that Palpatine's from Naboo.
Yeah, it is weird that he just is from Naboo. Yeah,
that he's just a guy. He's younger than Dooku. I think I sent you this. He's younger than Dooku for 20 years.
Yeah, you were freaking out. You were like, "Can you believe it?" I'm like, "Yeah, man.
That's
Christopher Lee's old."
Yeah, but like Sidious is supposed to be older than Dooku. Look at him.
Yeah, only when he gets electrocuted, then it's like
still.
Anyway, this isn't the Star Wars segment of the show yet.
No, we're not there yet.
Jeremy, tell me about your expeditions in Civilization. We spoke about it last week, but what are we coming back to here?
So, when you and I played, and you were a bit lost, I think is a fair way to say, while you were
losing.
That's not what I meant by that, but yes.
I was a loser, Jeremy.
You were aimless, I think, to an extent. Or rather, like not in a negative way, but you didn't quite know the direction of where to take your campaign.
And really, it turns out a big part. It's like, what do you want to do? And it's I have no idea.
It is maybe the hardest thing to learn in Civ. I still do games where I forget to decide that.
Right.
Too late. So I tried to brush up a little bit to try and help you and friend of the show, Ollie, sort of come out of that a bit and sort of maybe think of some routes you could take.
Mm-hmm.
So I played a game on my own with 6 or 7 other civilizations, just like a standard AI game. And I was doing this last week while I was editing the podcast and accidentally spent a night up at 2 a.m. doing the classic one more turn, which I hadn't done in a very long time. Not since high school have I had the one more turn.
Just last year then.
Shut up. You know that's not true. You know that's not true. We
search your heart.
We went to uni together.
6 years ago.
I know. Shut up. Yeah. So I had a match on my own, and I was playing as France. And yeah, I was going through, and then I decided. I worked a fair bit on Saturday, election day. I voted on Friday, and then I worked until late, like I mentioned before, and then I sat down and watched the election.
Mm-hmm.
About an hour into the election, things were slowing down a little bit. Western Australia started to count the polls.
Was it like 7 p.m., 8 p.m?
About 8 p.m. I was about a third of my way through my bottle of wine, had my laptop on, looking at the same webpage. It was
another 2 hours before anything really interesting started happening.
Yeah, like the basic rundown is once it gets to about 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, that's when you start to have an idea. In the words of Anthony Green, that is when you'll know if you will have to stay up a whole lot later or not. Which is, I think, a very funny thing. I don't know if you watched much of the actual ABC coverage, but Anthony Green...
I did. Anthony Green's great.
Just the absolute blessing of a person to host an election. I truly don't know what this country's going to do when he retires, because he's not a young man anymore.
They've got his protege. Casey Briggs is coming up behind him to fill his spot.
Oh, every time they cross the fucking David Spears, I wanted to claw my fucking eyes out.
And in the virtual telly room.
Oh, and his fucking analysts that are just drips.
One of them had a book of one-liners that he was going through.
Oh my god, the same line over and over again, the same quip.
And then they never cut to the one woman on the panel. They never cut to her.
No, that part of it sucked every time. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
The AR holograms, they were fun.
Yeah, they're fun. An hour into the election, I swapped my laptop from tracking election results to Moonlight Civ.
Yep.
And I just played Civ for the entire night. A couple of things happened. One, I was very close to winning. I was doing a science victory. I was making more than double science per turn than the next best person doing science. And I'm like, got this in the bag. I've eclipsed everybody in science. I know what I'm doing. I'm good. I'm the leader of the world. All that shit, right? Everybody hated me.
Take them all out with your ray guns.
Everybody fucking hated me because I kept on going to war, just trying to get more like land.
Right.
They all rightfully so hated me, but like shut up, like give me a break. What happened is then I looked at the charts and I saw that Brazil, one leader known as Pedro,
Vote for
was
Pedro.
Big in tourism, big in a lot of they get a lot of culture per turn because there is a tourism victory. Tourism victory is when everybody wants to go to your cities. Or rather, every major there's a bunch of win conditions, but it's by and large every major city in the world wants to visit and looks to you as like the culture capital of the world.
Interesting.
It's the culture victory. It requires you getting a lot of like works of art and like a ton of stuff. That is Pedro's specialty, and he was much closer to winning a culture game than I was to winning a science game.
So, Jeremy, what did you do to fuck him?
Built up an army, of course. Built up an army, declared war. I was going from Golden Age to Golden Age, which gives me a Cause Belly, I believe is the name. Cause Belly?
Casus Belli, I think.
Casus Belli. Which
I know that from Seinfeld.
Nice.
Where they don't know what it means, but they just say it to each other over and over because they like the sound of it.
Well, what it means is a reason to declare war is what it is. And there is warmonger penalties. It is a stat that you build up or not, depending on if you declare war or not, or if you do certain things
Putin.
like if you raise cities, if you attack innocent cities, blah, 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 over and over again, you would develop warmonger stat. And then warmongering stat is then a reason people can declare war on you for a light warmonger penalty. I was going Golden Age to Golden Age, and I kept on picking the thing saying, I'm in a Golden Age. That means I want to declare war, which is a hilarious thing to add into this game, which gives me
weird.
a light, very, very light warmonger status. Right. So fucking funny. So I just literally rolled up. I was taking countries in a weekend, all that stuff. Like I was just like going like city, city, city. Pedro went from making like the most amount of culture to I just totally eclipsed how much culture he was getting. Because not only did I like take him out, I then took everything that he was doing.
Right.
So I took all of his works of art. I took his culture capitals.
You absorbed his culture
like
an amoeba.
It's mine now. What then happened is I started to make too much culture per turn that I almost got myself out of a science victory and got myself into a culture victory.
Right. Which you just didn't want? Or?
I wanted the science victory because I'd worked the entire game to it. I didn't want to accidentally win another way but I didn't want to go from science victory to using military force to accidentally do a culture victory. That's not how I wanted to win the game. I wanted to see the stars, Kerry. I wanted to go into space. That is the science victory.
Okay.
So I kind of fucked with my own cities a little bit, made them worse, made them not very desirable to want to go to science victory. Weirdly enough, and I tweeted about this, and I once again this is not related at all. I don't think that these two things are like indicative of each other. This is not an art imitates life thing, but it was very weird to have the science victory screen show up at the exact same time Anthony Albanese was declared the Prime Minister of Australia.
Yeah. Your civilization wins as our civilization wins? Or is he win? I don't know how you spin that.
Look, it's not a loss, that's for sure. I don't know. That was weird. Those two things happened at the exact same time, and it was like, this means nothing.
Like, it's time to go to bed.
Like, this means nothing, but I noticed it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a much better understanding of how a lot more of those systems work again. Like understanding, like just getting better idea of amenities and housing and districts and all that stuff. Understanding how they all work. Every time you get a new technology in Civilization, Sean Bean reads out a little inspirational quote. The one for robotics is just "I'll be back," which I think is funny.
That's very funny.
It's either robotics or it's AI. It's one of the two. I don't remember which one.
Well done, 2K.
Yeah, no, the team at Firaxis they got a good sense of humor. In Civ 5, one of the advanced units was XCOM soldiers, for example.
Oh,
once you get further than modern day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was largely it. I just thought it was funny that I was about to lose and then I almost won away. I didn't want to win and then I won and then the election was called.
Yeah.
Funny night.
Yeah, strange night. It definitely sounds strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny listening to like you and Byron talk about, how to get past that initial hurdle of not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And it seems like such a tough egg to crack, like more so than a story game where it's like, oh, get past the first couple of hours and then like it really kicks off and you'll really get like hooked. Like it's more than that, right? It's like you might not understand what makes this game tick until you've played a few games. But the thing is, all of these games can take hours each. Like it's a big commitment just to even see if I'm gonna like it. I'm finding it quite daunting to try and go back to, and part of that's because I'm playing Persona and Judgment and Mass Effect. Like part of that's on me, but like, how do I break in, Jeremy?
I know what you mean. And I don't particularly have like a definite answer. Like I've given you what I think is genuinely like some pretty good answers about like how to maybe approach it.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, it still kind of comes down to you need to play it more to see whether you're going to like it and to understand it at all.
Yes. Yes. And I was thinking back to the way I got into Civ, which was Civ 5. And I just played and like just failed a bunch of games before I got a deeper understanding. Which is funny, and I don't really know why I did it, but I did.
Let me ask you this, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Did you have nothing else to play at that time?
Not really. I had plenty of games to play at that point because I bought it in a Humble Bundle.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Because like you saying, oh, you got to know it more in high school. I look at that and I'm like, is that just like you played it to play something, like
I obviously had more time back then, but like I don't really know what I think. Just like the moment to moment part of like making decisions and like building up a city, I think I just quite enjoy. Building a set. Like I will say that Civ 6's early game is a lot harsher than Civ 5.
Interesting.
Because the AI is smarter and the barbarians are just a bit rougher. I believe you can set the barbarian difficulty in Civ 6, which is maybe what we should do, is either change their difficulty or even just turn them off altogether. I've played many a game where there's just no barbarians because they're like a thing you need to overcome. And
yeah, they're an early game like thing to account for.
It's the reason it is the push to have you have an army, because otherwise you're just going to put everything in development, which makes complete sense. Which is why they need barbarians. They need you to spread across many systems all at once to engage with them all, as opposed to just because like there were many times where I was playing a game where I like never made a fucking army at all. Like I didn't have any siege units. I would just have like a bunch of archers for defense and nothing. And then like all of a sudden like I get someone declaring war on me and I'm fucked because I've just got the most basic defenses. So they do that there to make you want to make you desire having a basic standing army of defense.
And to give you more like interaction between someone else that isn't you, right? Yeah. While everyone else is still early and still focused on themselves.
And then there are ways where like, like a city-state quest will be, hey, take out this barbarian encampment, etc. Like there are ways where you can gain favor from some of the city-states by dealing with the barbarians. As well as giving you a little bit of challenge of like, oh, barbarian stole my fucking builder. Now I got to go kill the barbarians to get my builder back, etc. I understand why they're there, but they are not easy early foe. So,
yeah,
but they can make a break an early run for you.
Yeah, and that's not too bad because it's an early run, right? So you can just start again. Yeah. We'll see if I ever circle back around to it. It's
I think we should set a day.
It's a big hill to climb.
Yeah.
Like that's like if we set a day, I've got homework. You know what I mean?
Well, like I think, but like the idea of you and me and one other civilization on a very small map at the fastest game speed, I think is you'll understand some systems a bit more because you'll be like, what is it? It's like a brilliance by constraint or whatever.
Sure.
Because a smaller map, you can only have like a couple of cities, maybe 3 max. Then you'll really specialize those cities to do what you want them to do and just focus on that shit.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if I can. We'll see.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Oh, mate, I don't even know at this point. I was thinking about how like I've been playing more than V Rising, but it's like more Persona, more Judgment. But Judgment, I only got back to for the first time since last weekend. This weekend, like. Yeah. And so it's like I'm 15 hours into that, and it's like, but that's just kind of over like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I time is becoming more premium, as I guess we were always told it would be.
Yeah.
While we have this mini existential crisis, we're going to go on a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Star Wars. Get ready, everyone. We'll be right back.
Star Wars.
Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. Jeremy's been eating a sandwich, and I've been doing some Star Wars research during the break. Jeremy, what was in the sandwich?
So it was tuna and mayonnaise, but which is it's pretty plain of a sandwich. But my housemates for dinner made curry, just for them, and there was just a little bit left. Not enough for like a next day meal. So I said, "Can I have it?" And I put it in my sandwich.
So you had a tuna, mayonnaise, and curry sandwich?
Tuna, mayonnaise, and palak paneer sandwich. It was very good. It was really good.
That sounds really strange. Really strange.
It was so good. Have you never had you just put whatever you had for dinner last night just in between bread and eat it?
No, I am not a big sandwich person.
Right, okay. I'm a big sandwich person. They call me the big sandwich.
You give me untoasted bread, I might just leave.
I've been known to just have half a loaf of bread for dinner.
Not just you, many other people as well. It is a common trait of others.
Yeah.
I remember my band director at high school made a commitment to not eat bread for a year at some point because he liked it too much and ate it too often.
It's not good carbohydrates.
He just ate it.
Yeah.
Toast though.
Toast is about the same level of carbohydrates, I think.
But crunchy.
Good,
like a good toasted sandwich though. I'll have a good toasted sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even like a lightly toasted sandwich. Maybe I should try that next time. Half bread, half toast. Broast. We're going to talk about Star Wars now. So as you said before, Jeremy,
are you ready? Are you ready for my? You ready for the
Jeremy's been hyping up the visual gag of the week. He's been preparing one. I don't think I am ready, Jeremy. What are we looking at this week? What is this?
Lego Star Wars character selection screens.
Oh, that's fantastic! We're in the little blue circles. Is there room to turn one of them green so we're like co-op, or are they?
No, not right now.
There's not room for that. That's fine. That is a blessing nonetheless. Oh, that's astounding.
Because I was thinking, like, what can I do? Because you said all the things I went through, which is like Vader's helmet, and it kind of covers up our faces.
Couple of lightsabers.
Yeah, and then I thought, like, what if I gave you just like Watto's nose, and I gave me like Dexter Jettster's arms or something, and I was like, no, Dexter Jettster. in Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan goes to Dexter's Diner and he's like, "Oh, cloners! They're on Camino. It depends on how big your pocketbook is."
Thanks, Dex.
Oh, I know Dex.
Calls him Dex.
You know.
You really store a bunch of random shit in there.
Yeah, oh man, fucking tell me about it.
Dexter Jetster? That's his name?
Yeah.
What
Dexter's
the
Diner.
fuck?
What?
George Lucas, you're a clown. I did not start my timer again. That's on me. Okay, so with Star Wars Celebration coming up and the Kenobi series coming, and it's just time to talk about Star Wars. It's one we've been kind of sitting on, and we figured this week's as good a week as any.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And so, as with most of our little topics, we've got little subtopics, and we're going to start this week's topic of the show off with this one. As it is written down, what have we got here? It says, what was our introduction to Star Wars in general? And what was the first Star Wars game you remember?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. My introduction to Star Wars, I remember it most clearly. Honestly, I think I probably played a game before I saw the show, before I saw any of the movies. But my introduction to Star Wars was when my brother got for Christmas the Star Wars tape set of the original trilogy.
Right.
Which it turns out would have been relatively remastered. I think this was around the time of Phantom Menace. And so that had like Ian McDiarmid in it, and probably Han shot at a different order to compare to the first time.
Yeah, at that point it was. Yeah.
And the CG dancer from The Last Jedi, that's my canon. Did not know that was
so awful.
Later.
It's so terrible, isn't it?
It's what I know. I think the song's pretty good too.
What do they say to do to go to the bar?
the really shrill singer. What's her name? Everyone brings her up as the like. Her name is it's like, oh, it's that era where she's in it all the time. What's her name?
I think it's Sice Noodles.
Sice Noodles. She's got a big nose mouth. Yeah, that sounds about right. So those movies were my introduction to Star Wars proper. And I would go to my grandparents' house to stay over for the weekend sometimes.
Sorry, Snootles is what it actually is.
Snootles.
Snootles. Not Snootles.
Definitely. Well, yeah, she's got a big nose mouth. I don't know. I can forgive people for saying or thinking Snoodles is what it is. Yeah. But I would take the box set over to my grandparents' house when I was doing sleepovers, and I would watch one of them, almost always Return of the Jedi, and I would take one or more of the toy lightsabers we had, and when there was any fight scene, I would stand in front of the TV where I was on my own because my grandparents didn't want to watch, and just make the noises and swing the sword and turn it on, and it would make the noises with me. Even for the space fights. But I think the first Star Wars game I remember is, I remember back in the first house I was in before I was 5, before we moved around that time. Something to remember is that my brother is 10 years older than I am. But when we got our 64, I think we were doing a garage sale before we moved. And, wow, I have a lot of details about this. And my brother and his friends came over, and either one of them brought with them that they owned, or we rented Episode 1 Racer, which was the pod racing game on N64. And I didn't play it very much, and I was bad at it when I was that young. But I remember it very well. I remember those times of playing that. And I don't think everyone really enjoyed it that much, but we sure played it a lot that one afternoon. What about you, Jeremy?
Well,
I don't know if I know your introduction to Star Wars.
I was in grade prep, and my friend at the time showed me Episode 1, but like we weren't watching it, and he was like, I think he was just more excited to show someone Star Wars than he was for me to actually watch Star Wars, and so I didn't like understand what was going on. And Episode 1 is like complicated and full of like, trade disputes and stuff, so I didn't know what the fuck was happening.
Totally.
But
that was my Star Wars though. When we got that when I was like 6, when we got like the DVD
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. And like, you know, the fucking like I didn't know who the characters was, and so like I swear to God, for a long time, I thought it was Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was actually Qui-Gon Jinn. And I thought Obi-2 Kenobi was Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I shit you not, that was my like that's who I thought Star Wars characters were.
That's amazing.
And then
Obi-2.
Yeah, right. And like neither of my parents were like really big into Star Wars, and I don't have any older siblings, and so I used to watch it sometimes with my cousin, but like no one like showed me Star Wars until I was about, I don't know, 9, I guess, 10 maybe. When I said I wanted to watch all of them, and so we used to hire them out. And I remember hiring...
Was that like on the weekend, like on a Friday night, you get one and then you'd have it for the weekend, and then the next weekend you'd get the next one?
Yeah, we'd take it back and then get the next one out. And if it was there, it wasn't always there, so sometimes you had to wait and pick something else. And so I remember watching Empire Strikes Back, thinking it was the last one, not knowing that there was an episode 6.
Oh, no.
I didn't know, right? And I was furious.
Because that was the ending.
That was it. No, because I knew there was... Well, like, I knew by the end of it that there was another one.
Sure.
But I thought that was the last one before I watched it.
Why were you furious?
Because there was another movie I had to watch. I thought I was going to see the ending. That I thought today I'm going to see the final one.
Interesting.
And it was like sad, and you know the bad guys lose, and I didn't.
The good guys lose.
Sorry. The good guys lose. I didn't get it. Blah, blah. So that was that. But before, not before all of that, but before most of that, the first Star Wars game I ever played it's a game called Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo.
Yes, Jeremy. I didn't see this in my list, but please bring this up, because I couldn't find it and remember enough about it. But I did also play this.
It's an N64 and PC game.
Yeah. I
played it on PC because I didn't have an N64.
Which is probably for the best, because it's like a top-down simulator. It's like a...
No, it's a third-person vehicle game.
Oh, well, you and I thinking about something else then. I'm going to look this up while you keep going then.
Yeah.
What was it? Battle for Naboo?
Yeah, Star Wars Battle for Naboo. It is a vehicle game where you play as the different ships, the Naboo Star fighter, the droid on the little scooter thing that they drive around, the thing that they stand up on.
What?
It's like a droid thing where they stand up, and it's like it's got a gun on the end. It's like a hover bike thing, but it's a standing hover bike.
Oh, yeah. That's not a droid. That's just the vehicle.
Yeah, but like the droids use it as well.
I see what you're saying.
And there's like the...
I might have played this at one point or another.
Yeah.
I remember this being very difficult.
There's droid... Yes. And there's droid tanks and everything. And I don't... Like, this is maybe one of the first games I ever played. Like, I think I was maybe 5 years old when I was playing it. Maybe less. Because I think my dad just had the demo on his computer. He didn't buy it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we couldn't beat the first level.
Star Wars is such a... The music is such a rip-off. It's so fake.
Yeah. I don't think that game is particularly good. We didn't buy it. We just had the demo, but we couldn't even beat the demo. And it was like, I just remember flying around the grassy hills of Naboo, shooting at other people, and then I'd die and I'd choose another character and I'd just continue to die again. There's another Star Wars game I played when I was very young where it was a Starfighter type game. Yeah. And I remember being in a hangar in space, flying either an X-Wing or a TIE fighter. I don't remember which one. It might have been a prequel ship, actually. I don't actually know. But the first thing you have to do is get out of the hangar to fly around.
Oh.
And we failed at that over and over and over again, and we had no idea what we were doing. We had not a fucking clue. Yeah, that's basically it. I also played a bunch of the fucking Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which was a rip-off of Age of Empires 2. that game was really good, and I still play that game every now and again. I bought it on Steam.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's still good because it's just Age of Empires, so like all the balancing and stuff is all there, but like it's got good music and great little animations and stuff.
There is an RTS I played. I think, I don't know, we got the demo for it or no one wanted it. Like my cousins gave it to me or something. I looked it up just now. It's called Star Wars Episode 1: The Gungan Frontier.
Right.
And let me read the Wikipedia description here.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1: The Gungan Frontier is a video game by Lucas Learning. The players must introduce organisms to the Naboo moon, of Omadun, in an attempt to develop a stable ecosystem capable of supporting Gungan colonization. It's like
tight.
It's like a SimCity management game. Like, I didn't play it that much. It was very confusing for little old me.
Nice.
I don't recommend it.
All right. The next question, Kerry.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite? Listen, you wrote this question, and I've got an addition to it. But this is a question for you by you. What's your favorite Star Wars game from when you were a kid and didn't know any better?
Right. So, like, what were the games that you thought were fantastic, and then you look back now and they're clearly dog shit? Or, like, maybe you wouldn't have actually cared about it that much.
Yeah.
Like Battle for Naboo, for example. Although it sounds like you had a good idea of what it was at the time.
Well, I just didn't know what it was at all. I didn't know what games were, really.
Okay,
then.
Sure. There's a game, and I was showing you footage from this earlier, Jeremy. It's an Xbox exclusive game called Star Wars Ob1. And I saw my friend play it once, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. And then they let me play it, and then, I jumped into the middle, and I was lost, and I never played it again. But I thought it was really cool. And it's this, you play as Obi-Wan, but like pre-episode 1, and it came out in like 2001, right?
I thought it was pre-episode 2.
Yeah, sorry. It came out before episode 2, long after episode 1 had come out. But it had this really interesting control scheme where you control Obi-Wan's lightsaber with the right-hand stick.
Like Ape Escape. You see, in Ape Escape, the right stick is where you hit. So if you're facing straight and the right stick, you flick left, then the kid will go left.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like Ape Escape from the little bit I've seen of it. It's very strange.
It's good. Have you seen the Metal? I'll show you the Metal Gear thing later.
You have shown me the Metal Gear thing.
Okay.
Someone's shown it to me this last week.
Right.
Anyway, like Ape Escape, you swing the right stick to swing the lightsaber in different ways, and I thought that was so complicated and so cool when I was younger. It's like, wow, so much control. You can swing the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And really, it's like left swings left, right swings right, up swings up, down is block, and like that's it. Like it's actually just 4 directions.
Sure.
It could have been on the buttons, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
And it kind of felt really cool. But it's such a strange game. Turns out it was meant to be made for GameCube and PlayStation 2. Right. And then those versions got cancelled, so it just turned into an Xbox exclusive. But yeah, that was a game I really wanted to try, and it just kind of stayed in my head as this built up like fantasy of like, what would it be if I got to actually play it? If I actually got to play Star Wars Obi-Wan.
Well, now you can this Friday on Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus, I can watch. I don't think it'll be quite as like quad directional.
No, we might even say it'll be one directional. My answer to this is not quite. It's my addendum to this question, which is, what's your favorite Star Wars game from when you were a kid and didn't know any better? This is a game that I what's my favorite Star Wars game that I played once is actually, and it's kind of I played once, but it's more like I could see myself loving this game when it came out. But so at some point in the 2010s, Humble put out like a Humble Star Wars bundle, which included a bunch of Star Wars games. It was a ton of, like, they'll bring in a bunch of Star Wars games to Steam, and they did this big celebration of like, hey, like, this bundle is like $10 or something, and you get basically every Star Wars Lucas game from a million fucking years now.
Mm-hmm.
And that included Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2.
Oh, good point. Good point.
And I never played that game in its heyday. I didn't have it on PS2, and I didn't have it on PC. So I missed out on all the online shenanigans.
Oh, you missed out. That was a good time. I did play a lot of that game. I forgot about it.
So when this bundle came out, they were removing GameSpy, I think. And they had a fix for it. They had a different alternate version for it, which was one of the reasons that they were bringing it to Steam. It was like, hey, the GameSpy stuff has been down for a long time. Like, I think I'm getting this right. But we've fixed it. We've actually modified the game to bring back online. And they literally couldn't make enough keys, the amount of people were buying this game. I remember buying this bundle and having to wait something like 36 hours later before I'd even got my key because they weren't generating enough for how many people were buying this game. And so when I finally got my key, the servers were plentiful.
Chock full.
And so I got to live what was the reliving of people playing this game online. And as far as I'm aware, the community for this game is still like active enough, kind of like Halo 1.
Right.
Like you can still get a game of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, a game.
Yeah. But it was fun. I didn't know. I didn't know. I saw that game a bunch at JB Hi-Fi and EB and the rental places, but I never picked it up. But then playing it on the PC when it was full of people again, that I will maybe never forget doing that. That was great fucking fun.
It's really special in a way. And it feels quite simple when you look at it these days. But Battlefront 2 brought in like the hero fighters, so you could play as Jedi, which was awesome. Or you could play as... I think you could play as Boba Fett and stuff like that, like Django and...
yeah, you definitely can.
But they gave you... It was nearly the whole movies. It was nearly episode 1 through 6, wasn't it? Like... I don't know.
I don't remember.
I think it came out like maybe just before 3, but it had Mustafar in there and the place where he finds Grievous like in the middle of the movie. Utapau, thank you. Like it had it was like a sneak peek for episode 3 locations and characters.
Yeah.
I think
Grievous is in it, isn't he?
I was just trying to think about that. I don't know if he is. I think he might have been too unique, different.
So Grievous actually shows up prior to episode 3 in terms of released Star Wars media, because there was that animated Tartakovsky Clone Wars film in between 2 and 3 where Grievous first shows up. That's his first appearance.
Okay.
So that he might have been in there because they had an idea.
No, but like I think like the other ones.
Oh, like he's too complex of like an
asset in game.
Right. Okay. I see.
And like he's so large. Like all of the others are humans or like a droideka, which they had to put in there anyway. Like I don't know, or what might have been in the first game. So yeah, I don't think he was in there.
Right.
But yeah,
is Battlefront 1 like a Source game?
I don't think it's a Source game. I think it's pretty similar to Battlefront 2, but it's basically prequels only, and I think even just 1 and 2, episodes 1 and 2 only.
Right.
So yeah, 2 brought in. Oh, it had the Galactic Conquest. It had space fights. It was 4, 5, and 6. It was so robust in a way that I didn't really appreciate. But yeah, like I just played with bots. I just played that game with bots a lot. But it was great, and sort of the ticket system, and yeah, no, that game was great. It's such a shame the re-releases, the reboots, the new ones didn't really capture that magic. And like multiplayer shooter games have come like beyond leaps and bounds since then. I get it, but
yeah. So Battlefront 1, the original, did have prequel and original trilogy stuff. Had like Battle of Endor and Cloud City, Yavin. But yeah, 2 had like everything. At that point, like I will say, I am a Battlefront 2 modern, Battlefront 2 defender a bit. I quite liked that game. I'm never gonna go back to it, I don't think. But like when they were releasing a ton of the Clone Wars stuff, I was pretty into that. I was pretty into how much Clone Wars stuff they were really putting into it.
Maybe I should just go back to the new Battlefront 2 and just play with bots. Maybe I should just not play online, because I think that was part of my frustration, was just getting dunked on the whole time.
Maybe you should watch the Clone Wars, Kerry.
I started doing that for a while. I got like 15 episodes in.
I think you should watch an episode. You should look at an episode list.
Oh yeah, do the right
guide.
order thing. Yeah. That's maybe not.
There's a lot of shithouse episodes. It's a kids show.
Turns out it's a kids show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, man, good call, Jeremy. Battlefront 2. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I forgot to. I did also want to give a quick shout out to Shadows of the Empire on the N64. Are you familiar with this one at all?
No, I'm not.
It was quite big at the time, I think. Like, it was like a bounty hunter third-person shooter on the 64. It was really difficult. I rented it one weekend. Like, it was kind of too difficult for my age.
Right.
But it was really cool, and it used a lot of good music and had like a unique plot. Like, it was cool. I think a lot of people have fond memories of it. So cool. Shout out to you, Shadows of the Empire.
Kerry, what's currently your favorite Star Wars game?
So this is a hard one. I enjoyed reminiscing about Battlefront 2. I also realized that I haven't thought about Lego Star Wars games at all in this list, which are high up there.
Yeah. Yep.
I really, 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 really enjoyed Fallen Order in 2019. I dug it. I really enjoyed it. I was thinking about that earlier when I was looking at different footage of Obi-Wan. They like cut to how it was like, oh, you could maybe say this was an earlier version of Fallen Order's combat. And I'm like, oh yeah, that game rules. That's right, I remember now. I liked the story. It really engaged me. Like, I really, really, really liked the story in a way that Jeremy definitely didn't, but I did.
Yeah, not at all.
I liked the combat. I liked the level design. I liked being able to build my own lightsaber. I liked the way that developed. I liked the different environments. I really dug that game. I think it's my answer by default, because I enjoyed how modern it is too. All the others, there haven't really been that many great games in the last 10 years, I want to say, for Star Wars outside of Fallen Order.
I would say there have been no great games from Star Wars in the past 10 years.
Are you lumping in Fallen Order into that?
Yeah.
Like, is it that low on your list?
Oh, look, I think that game is fine. Like, I think that game for me is like a 6 out of 10.
Oof. It was a little unrefined, but yeah.
Yeah, like it just felt a bit not polished.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bugs in that game. A lot of weird like platforming bugs, and some of the puzzles were kind of a little bit obtuse at times. I don't give a shit about Cal Kestis at all.
No, I don't really either, but I liked the ride. I thought it was a fun ride.
I don't know any of the other characters' names. I don't remember a single
Sia
one.
Junda. Greasy. BD1.
You mean Wheeze?
No, I Grease.
Yeah, I like Star Wars sometimes a lot. And it's, I'm consistently conflicted with how much I like Star Wars, but like,
I know what you mean, that they've made it difficult to like Star Wars.
Yeah.
They've made it more difficult to like Star Wars.
I mean, look, Star Wars is always difficult to like Star Wars. That's sort of why people like Star Wars. No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, but like, it's the Fallen Order is there's so much of it that I just didn't really care for at all. And it's not even me.
Yeah.
That's
you
not
didn't
even
vibe with it.
No, but it's not even me like having preconceived notions of what Star Wars is. I think it was just like what they gave me just wasn't really much. Like, I didn't care about the characters. I remember when you were like, do you know about the twist in the game? I don't know if we
well documented on the podcast.
Okay, it is. It has been on the podcast. I didn't know what fucking twist you were talking about at all, because I just thought
you got through that part of the game and just didn't even realize that was a twist. Whereas I was like, like I remember gasping.
And then like Vader shows up. I'm like, fucking, what are you doing right now?
That's the worst part of that game.
And what was the name of the underwater base?
For it was the place where the Inquisitors. It was the Inquisitors base.
The base
and it was called like Castle
Inquisitors.
Yeah, it was like, what was it? I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah,
but keep going.
That location apparently is in the Obi-Wan show, I think.
Yeah, because there's Inquisitors in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Fortress Inquisitorius. Yeah.
Fortress Inquisitorius.
Fortress Inquisitorius. The base of the Inquisitors. Fortress Inquisitorius.
To play off that, do you know why General Grievous is named General Grievous? Because that's not his real name.
What's his real name?
I don't know his real name. It's a Star Wars name, but it's like
I'm on it.
It's like Shatai or something. His name is General Grievous because he's a general and he's grieving for these race of people.
Oh, that's right.
That were killed by the Jedi.
Grievous, born as Chimean Jai Shilal?
Yeah, something like that.
I thought it was because he was grievously harmed. I thought it was on the nose in a different way.
No.
Grievously wounded.
So
Jeremy, what's currently your favorite Star Wars game?
I suppose the new Lego game. I don't know. Like, I think the new.
Funny
Lego
how the new games just get it by default because it's been so long.
Look, I think the old Lego Star Wars games were really good.
Yep.
I just don't know if they hold up.
Yep.
Now, in terms of gameplay and stuff, probably a little bit basic, and that's not a bad thing.
Not too bad, but yeah, they're a little. Yeah. I think honestly, the gameplay holds up fine, but like the cutscenes are Spartan. They are very quick and empty.
And I think a lot of that comes from like these are not just like these are early Lego games. You know, they were figuring out.
They were the first ones in that format.
In that formula, yeah, pretty much. I think there was a Harry Potter one prior to that, but yeah, they're good and fine and funny, but I think they're just maybe more nostalgic than anything else. Like, I think this new one is genuinely like hilarious. And like I watched a bit from because I finished the Last Jedi episode in that, and the part where Rey and Kylo are talking through like the Force and Kylo's shirtless. He's like lifting weights and like doing bench presses in every cutaway and like doing curls and like doing pull-ups and stuff. And she's like, can you put a shirt on? And he's like, no, or whatever. It's they bring like so much attention to it.
Yep.
And plus it looked great. Like it's a really fun game. I don't know, between that and I guess Galactic Battlegrounds, which is a Age of Empires 2 clone from like 2005. Like it's like,
yeah,
I don't particularly have a great deal of love of Star Wars games. And I think because they don't quite know what to do a lot of the time. They're really weird. There are so many weird Star Wars games. Like fucking,
so many.
Yeah, Bombad Racing. Like there's so many
Super Bombad Racing and all of the Dark Forces, which then became like Jedi Knight games, which were cool, but they started as an FPS and then became like a Jedi first-person game.
And look, the ones that people love the most is like KOTOR and the Old Republic and stuff, and like I guess Jedi Academy to a lesser extent. Like, and I just haven't played any of those.
Yeah, I am excited for the KOTOR remake, mostly because I accidentally deleted my KOTOR save a few years ago, after 25 hours. Yeah. But that game, if you're willing to meet it on its 20-year-old level, it is still there. There's some magic there. Some BioWare magic. You wouldn't know because you've never played Mass Effect, but it's there. It's
true. No, I've played a BioWare game.
Don't talk about Sonic. I don't want to hear about it. So yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair list. Jeremy, we've alluded to it already, but let's address it directly. What is the state of modern Star Wars games? Where are we?
Currently,
right
it's extraordinarily poor.
True. I feel like since Fallen Order, and while you didn't vibe with it as much, you can admit at least that it was better on launch than either Battlefront game.
Yeah, I mean, sure. the FTC didn't get involved in the release of the Star Wars game.
Exactly, and I think it had good combat and great animations, and was Star Wars. I think that was fun. The bloody Forrest Whitaker's in it. That's great. Bugali and all that. Yeah. But like,
remember the Pooh Wookiees?
I do remember the Pooh hair Wookiees. They looked rough.
They looked awful.
So we got Fallen Order, which was like decent. Yeah. You know, it was decently good. A lot of people really enjoyed it. Some people got frustrated with it, but it wasn't a bad game. Then we had Star Wars Squadrons, and then Lego Star Wars this year.
Yeah, and I think by and large, like Squadrons came out to like, you know, thumb up. You made a ship only Star Wars game. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but you made one.
Yeah,
totally. And it works.
It was like a budget game that some people played for a little bit, and then it pretty quickly fell away.
Yeah, there was no like live ops for that game or anything.
Totally. So then before that, we have the failures of Battlefront 1 and 2. Battlefront 1 was a failure because it was only original trilogy, and there were no bots, so you had to play online. And it felt quite restricted in comparison to why everyone was excited for a Battlefront game in the first place, right? Which is
and there was no single player.
Yeah, there was no single player at all. No campaign, not even like a... Battlefront 2 didn't have like standalone campaigns, but it had like, do this and we'll go from planet to planet and just do a mission on each planet.
The original Battlefront 2, sorry.
Yeah, the original Battlefront 2. And that was enough. That was great. And there was so much breadth of content in terms of like Geonosis and Yavin 4 and Mustafar and Endor. Like you could go to all of the planets and fight as all of the different armies.
Yeah.
But the first one just didn't have that. And granted, the assets were much higher quality. I get it.
But DICE.
Yeah. I don't know. That was everyone was very excited for it, and then it didn't come through. And then they were like, we're making the second one pretty soon after the first one, and we're addressing all of the problems that everyone had with it. We've got more eras. We've got a single player, brand new story written with this person and that, and it's this and...
Janina Vonka is in it, you know.
Yeah, Janina Vanka, she's in it. It's great, like mocap. But then also it turned into like, here's a mission with fake Harrison Ford and a mission with fake Luke Hamill and a fake...
Luke Hamill?
Luke Hamill? Mark Hamill. Luke.
Mark Skywalker.
Hey Mark, you gonna go blow up the Death Star?
Luke Hamill.
I like
Harrison Solo.
Bloody Carrie Organa. It took me a while.
Ewan Kenobi.
Yeah, Ewan Kenobi. So I don't know. It was disappointing for a number of reasons. People found the single player was short and just had weird missions that did nothing for the characters they brought in. Yeah. They thought the main story was hamstrung by the fact they kept trying to go back to...
Yeah, every episode was just another character showing up. Every mission was another character showing up, and it's like it felt like a fucking greatest hits like roller coaster ride.
Right, and then it was like over, right? Like it was short, and then the multiplayer was pay to win. Like it was awful, and that brought the end of the microtransaction. That was the stopping point of the microtransaction creep. That was the point where people said, "All right, this is too much." And there were other things in that year that were bad, like stuff in NBA and stuff in like, there was a driving game I remember was really egregious. Yeah. But then this was like, all right, stop it. This sucks. You're ruining the experience for everyone. All of you developers, all of you publishers that are pushing for this, you suck. Stop it. And that's what brought, like you said, the FTC and all of those hearings in like Belgium and other places in Europe and stuff like that. Before that, we didn't really have anything else. What, like Force Unleashed?
Yeah, there was the Force Unleashed games.
Which I didn't really love.
There was the Kinect games. No, the Force Unleashed games are fun. Yeah. I feel the same about Force Unleashed as I do about fucking Fallen Order, to be completely honest.
That stings.
I mean, as in terms of when I played the Force Unleashed when it first came out. Like, I'm like going back to it now. I'd probably feel much worse about it, but like I didn't care for that. Like I didn't care for Fallen Order. Yeah, and there was like all the PS2 era ones that we spoke about, like Jedi Bounty Hunter and all that stuff. And like anything in between then was just the Lego games.
Yeah. Yeah, like Lego Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars game.
Yeah, which I don't think I think that one like missed a fair bit, and then like there was a PS3 one as well, which was just 1 and 2 put together, like the complete trilogy. But yeah, there was not a whole lot really going on, and then EA got the exclusive license after Disney bought it, and it was like they put out 2 Battlefront games which were bad. They put out Fallen Order. They put out a bunch of mobile games.
Yeah, a bunch of mobile games. Yeah.
One of them I quite liked, Galaxy of Heroes. I think that was pretty good for a while. It's pay to win, but like I remember quite enjoying it. Like
it's a weird spot.
And so we should talk about what's coming next. There's another Fallen Order game.
I've just pulled up a list.
Okay, yeah,
do you want to hear? Yeah. Do you want to hear about what we've got coming? We have the Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yeah.
Coming from Aspire.
Aspire, right.
A relatively unknown company known for ports, I think. So this is quite a big deal for them.
Aspire, they do remasters and stuff. I have no reason to not trust them.
Okay. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, as it says on this Polygon article. It's since Jeff Grubb has come out and said that they're probably going to call it Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Which was a bad week for that news to come out off the back of them saying that developers who wanted a minority protagonist were they were told no, we've already got a woman protagonist in the movies, so we don't need to do that.
And that's actually not new news. That's been around for a little bit.
Yeah, like Grubb has known that for a while. But yeah, that's coming soon. If not at the end of this year, then by the end of next. Apparently there's an untitled Star Wars first-person shooter from Respawn Entertainment, an untitled Star Wars strategy game, led by BitReactor, which is a new studio formed by developers of the XCOM and Civilization franchises. So we don't really know much about them yet.
Nope.
Untitled Star Wars game from Ubisoft Massive Entertainment, known for its work on Tom Clancy's The Division.
Yeah.
A new story-driven open-world video game set in the Star Wars galaxy is what they're making. We're also looking at Star Wars Eclipse, which being made by Quantic Dream, makers of Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, also known as being led by a bunch of asshats. So no one's really excited for that. And then Amy Hennig's game with Skydance New Media, which is cool that that's happening.
Is this the third time that she's having a crack at a Star Wars game at this point? And like not blaming her, but just like what she keeps getting put on projects that just get fucking nuked.
I don't know what Amy Hennig has released since Uncharted 3.
Yeah. I feel bad for her. Like
yeah, no, it's not good. And everyone who saw the original game that she was making with Visceral at EA, that they were making Ragtag was the code name for that one, and it was a third-person action. For those who don't know, Amy Hennig, sort of like the grandmother of Uncharted, right? Like the person who was the leading creative force behind creating Uncharted. And they were making a Star Wars game in that vein, and it got cancelled really far through development. And the studio was closed.
Yeah, just like 1313.
Yeah, 13, yeah, 13. Exactly. So she's finally getting another crack at it. And that's going to be a long way away. And this is with Hennig's new studio, Skydance New Media. So, like, we'll see.
And, like, I've seen footage leaked online of some Mandalorian game that I can't tell is real or not.
Right.
There was, like genuine footage of, like, the Mandalorian, like, Din Djarin, like, going, like, in hallways and, like, shooting stormtroopers. And there's, like, menus and loot and stuff. And I don't know if it's real or not. I genuinely have no clue. Or
if it's like the Ocarina of Time in Unreal 5, sort of like a tech demo kind of a thing that someone bashed together.
Yeah. Because it's it's like every leaked anything, it's phone footage from a screen. Heaven forbid we get like raw capture, which I guess makes sense. But like, yeah, there's just a whole lot of. It reminds me of when they got the license in like 2014. It's just like, hey, like there's a bunch of stuff coming, but for now there's not much, so just hold on. And we've been holding on.
Yeah, it's good. So EA got that like 10-year exclusivity deal, and that clearly fell through at some point with their subpar results from Battlefront 2.
From what I can tell, it was almost a direct, like, EA got the call from Disney being like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, why are we in such negative press right now?
Yeah, why are we even in the news right now? What are you doing?
Exactly. This is supposed to be the good one.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's tricky. Like they didn't take it away. They didn't say you're not making Fallen Order anymore. You're not making Squadrons. I guess I don't think they were making that at the time, but you know, they let them keep working on it. But they were like, this exclusivity is done. We're gonna shop this around a bit. So EA is still working on other stuff. They're making another Respawn game. So Respawn's becoming more than half Star Wars at this point, which is interesting.
Respawn's the only thing that EA seem to be like comfortable releasing games with at this point.
Yeah, I know. It's almost because like the studio has any sort of like grip on what the publisher wants them to do and them being able to say no. But yeah, we're in a weird spot where we were coming out of like nothing, and then we got like disasters and disappointments. And now we've had a couple of okay things. They were okay. And we're looking at other studios handling this property now. But everything feels so unknown, so up in the air. Like there's no knowing what we're going to get next, whether it's going to be good or bad or in like just totally average. We don't know.
Yeah.
Jeremy, what's your dream Star Wars game?
Can you go first?
I tell you what, Star Wars Obi-Wan was pretty sweet. Maybe we need a Star Wars Obi-Wan remaster, remake.
Obi-2.
Obi-2. My dream Star Wars game.
It's hard, right? Because you default to like, I want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
That's not invalid because that's like the Star Wars thing. It's like, I want to have the Force and I really want to feel like a Jedi, like every review that comes out when they talk about Spider-Man and stuff, it really makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think that's a genuine thing to want to capture.
I think KOTOR, the remake, it depends on how they translate the combat system. They have to redo it. It's archaic. Yes. It's just a pen and paper RPG with some animations on top of it. They have to redo the combat. Depending on how they do it, that could be fantastic because what that gives you is the choice between like a rebel type character using blasters or a Jedi or a Sith. And you can use dual wield. You can do a double bladed lightsaber, single wield lightsaber. You can have like a short lightsaber, I'm pretty sure. Like there's so much choice. And if they make the combat fun inside of that, I think that could really scratch a lot of people's Star Wars itch. Let me
pitch something to you then.
Mm-hmm.
And I know who I'm playing to. I'm playing to the audience right now, so I know you're going to be excited by this. But it is a Star Wars game that is wearing the clothes of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
I know that's what you want.
As I was saying that. Yeah, wearing the clothes of that would be fun. I don't think that would be. I don't know if that's the best fit for a Star Wars game. I don't know if that's my dream Star Wars game, but I would happily take it and enjoy it a lot. But yeah, something to make the sword swinging just fucking fantastic. I want an excellent lightsaber game is what I want. That's my dream Star Wars game, is an excellent lightsaber game. And maybe that's what Vader Immortal is, the VR game. I really need to play it and see for myself because I hear good things, but like that's the dream for me. It's just the best lightsaber game you've ever seen.
I think I don't actually want a Jedi game.
Okay.
I think I
should say for my dream game, I want it to be set like very far in the future or very far in the past, and absolutely nowhere near anything that we know.
Both of us want it to get away from everything that's happened at the moment, like all the movies and like we want it to be standalone. We don't want a Skywalker to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I will take at best one Plo Koon.
Bargaining chip.
Yeah. I think I want like the smuggler's dream, right? I want like I want a ragtag. I want the Guardians of the Galaxy game in Star Wars, I think.
Oh, okay.
I want the downtime on the ship.
Yep.
I want the good conversation. Not this Jedi Fallen Order shit. hey, I'm growing plants here. Fuck off, little goblin.
Oh, you got to give it to the light speed animations and the screen wipes in Fallen Order. That was pretty good.
Look, you said the word yaddle. I don't care. You still said it in between 3 and 4, like everything fucking else.
Who's Yaddle?
Yaddle is the other fucked up looking Yoda with hair.
You're right.
Yeah, I want the Smuggler's Dream. I want like the ragtag group. Different species. You're looking at Yaddle.
I am looking at Yaddle. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, don't look at Yaddle.
They just put like a normal wig on top of Yaddle, top of Yoda.
He shows up in like a single shot in, I think, like Phantom Menace in the background. He's like on the council.
Yaddle is a force-sensitive female being of the same species as Grandmaster
Yoda. You should look up Oppo real quick.
Righto. Do it with me, audience. Come along for the ride. Oppo Rancisis.
Yes, Oppo Rancisis.
What the hell
this thing is very upsetting.
What is this?
The ragtag group that I want.
Oh, this is like if a Furby was a Jedi and like
it has a long snake tail.
Hair.
Dude, it has a long snake tail.
It has a snake tail?
Yeah.
This thing is so strange.
Its whole body is like a snake.
Oh my god, it is. But why does it have so much hair if it's a snake?
It's really upsetting, isn't it?
It's got the biggest beard. Oh, and the puppets that someone has made is awful. It's got hands. It's a snake with hands.
Yes.
I hate this.
It's got to have a lightsaber. It's a Jedi.
It's a snake. Please.
Ragtag group.
You want a ragtag game.
I want a group of smugglers, and they do a couple of shifty deals. They're chasing after that final one, that final deal that'll make them live off in fucking Canto Bight or whatever for the rest of their lives. And they get in over their heads.
So you want Red Dead 2 story meets Guardians like sort of structure.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's kind of fun. I like that. Dying Age of the Smuggler. And
look, that's the Solo movie. By and large, it's about freedom and it's about the one final score. I think that movie's okay.
It's a prequel.
Solo.
One final score.
What?
That movie's like it's like the one final thing, but like that's like the start of Han Solo.
Yeah, I know. But it's fucking it doesn't connect to anything else anyway, so it might as well be standalone at this point.
But it's how Han met Wookiee, Chewie.
Wookiee.
How did Han meet Wookiee?
Hey kid, the name's Han Solo. This is my ship, the Millennium Falcon.
This is my ship, the Wookiee.
And this is Wookiee.
I'm like an unfiltered. I'm like an unfiltered Google search right now. What is Han Solo's Wookiee?
This is my friend Wookiee. like I know he said, he calls the other droids just droid, but like calling it like Wookiee is just very fucking funny.
It's very rude.
Yeah, either that or I want like a rebellion game. Like I want like a proper like, down in the trenches, like a Rogue One-esque, like it's really dire and it's really like sad and upsetting. And
what's the gameplay with this one? What are we talking about? First person shooter, soldier gameplay, like
I don't know. Let's say a yeah, look, first person shooter, I think I want a really intense first person shooter game. Like you remember when like
Metro, but without the zombies. But like that kind of like intensity where it's like scarce resources and you're stuck in like an old service tunnel and they've sent like Seeker drones to come and get you and they're going to pop through the vents and like red lights in a dank, wet industrial setting.
Yeah. Like I want like smoke and I want the eyes of like the the commando stormtroopers with like the glowing visors to like go through the smoke, and like you're just trying to escape. Like you're just trying to get the fuck out to live.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
We should pitch this to someone, and then they should give us all of the money.
We'll pitch it to Amy Henning, and then we'll run.
Hope this doesn't get cancelled. Bye.
Yeah. What's your dream Star Wars game, Kerry?
Oh, I told you it's my lightsaber game. I want a good lightsaber game, not set in the current era of Star Wars.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you want it like Dark Souls, or do you want it like Mordhau?
Honestly, in my head, it's more like Mordhau chivalry. Like, give me really granular, like For Honor style, like Wii Sports Resort, like Shambara. Like, I want really granular lightsaber combat.
Okay,
really granular.
I have one final pitch for you.
Please.
It's a simulation game where you run Dexter Jetster's diner, and it's just a simulator game. Top down, isometric. Well, maybe not isometric, but like top down. Give me some Star Wars.
Dexter Jetster's Diner Dash.
Or maybe give me like a LA Noire slice of life. You're a cop on fucking Coruscant. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Corrupt as all hell.
Super fucking corrupt. You know, everybody's like, these Jedi, they're just fucking religious zealots, kind of like, we could do whatever we want. Like Palpatine's lining our pockets.
Let me play like as the Death Sticks seller from Attack of the Clones, who after he goes home and rethinks his life, reforms and wants to help rid his neighborhood of the scum and villainy that he was once a part of. Let me play the reformed Death Stick salesman.
I forgot what his last name was.
Okay, of course he's got a name. What is it?
His first name is Elan.
Elan?
His last name is Sleazebagano.
George Lucas, you're a fucking clown. You can't get away with that. That's not writing. That sucks. Sleazebagano.
I know writers who use subtext and they're cowards.
Oh my god.
Sleazebagano. That's right.
Sleazebagano. That's awful.
Or it's either that or it's Sleazebagano. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Oh, that's so, like, his last name may as well be Death Sticks. Like,
yeah,
bloody hell. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this trip down our respective memory lanes. We hope you went down your own memory lane with us. Feel free to tweet at us with your own answers if you thought we missed a game, like the seminal PS2 game, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That game is really strange, and you spend a lot of time in vehicles, and I like it a lot. Turns out I like a lot of subpar PS2 games from that era, just because I was young, probably. I also like the good ones, like Lego Star Wars. We're no longer Lego characters.
No, we're not. We're back.
The seal has been broken. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the show, you can if you want to find more episodes like this, you can go to minimap.com.au. Don't know if I said the website's name at all in the intro, but we're from minimap.com.au, by the way. You can go there, find all other episodes of this podcast, as well as episodes of our other podcasts, like The Pecking Order and our mini disc Game Club specials. If you want to support us, you can rate the show positively on your platform of choice. You can support us monetarily on patreon.com/minimapau. And you can follow us on our socials. That's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, on MiniMapAU. We're posting there. We're getting more regular about it. The video content is helping. It's good. And you can also find us on Twitter individually. Where I'm there at KJPalmer_24. Jeremy?
At Obi1Jez.
Obi2Jez, you heard it here first. And I think that's about it, everyone.
No one take Obi2Jez, thank you.
Twitter at Obi2.
Don't you dare.
Jez. Let's see.
if you're just here to tell me that it's available, like, I know.
You know? How do you already know that?
Because no one would have taken it.
OB2 Jez. The only thing on Twitter is a reply to your tweet that in 2019 that says, I just deleted the game because the name Obi-Wan Jez was taken and it suggested I add 92 at the end as if there are 91 others. And then someone responded saying Obi-2 Jez? Oh, and then you did a brain meme. You did like a galaxy brain meme where it's like Obi-Wan Jez 92 is like small brain and then Obi-2 Jez is like galaxy brain. Jeremy, you ready on the outro button?
Sure am.
Okay, well...
Always.
The Force is with you. Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. This is a blast. We'll see you next week.